There's a good chance that it happened in your town, a heroin overdose, maybe even a death. In many communities, it is now an epidemic that doesn't respect age, income, geography.
Yeah, a lot of people asking the questions, why are addiction rates and overdoses going up so much? And what can you do when someone you love is hooked? I got the chance to ask those questions of 6 people who are living through this right now at their support group meeting, Learn to Cope. You'd never know it from these photos, but these smiling, beloved young people were addicts.
It's one day at a time. Today, I know he's sober.
Their families come together at Learn to Cope meetings in Salem, the same scene playing out in 15 communities statewide every week. The problem has grown exponentially in a pretty short period of time.
The deaths are... It's an epidemic here.
These 5 parents and 1 former addict agreed to talk with me, hoping their experiences, however painful, might help the loved ones of other addicts.
Sticking a needle in your arm when I was growing up, it was just so far off from a high school kid that it's not that way anymore.
Kevin's daughter Emily is a recovering heroin addict. Today, she's clean, married, and caring for her daughter.
It would rip the family apart. You know, you'd fight. You'd think it was your fault.
Rhonda's son, Zachary, survived. At 22, he's been clean for 3 months and is now saving for college. Katelyn started with pills and moved to heroin. Did you ever worry that you wouldn't survive the addiction?
No, not at all. I thought I was just doing what I was doing, you know? I was getting high. I felt amazing all the time. And I would see friends dying.
And that didn't scare you?
No, no. And that's scary now, though, because now it's like, you know, I've done so much hard work around my recovery that, like, I'm restored to sanity. Where, like, before I was so insane that things like that didn't bother me at all.
It was crushing.
Kenny's son, Casey, was a good student with lots of friends. Drugs changed everything.
My son died when he was of heroin overdose. It's almost as if we expected it, and we had been through so much.
I'm going to show you how to put it together.
Every Learn to Cope meeting features Narcan training. Narcan's a drug that can stop an overdose, and it buys time to get an addict to the hospital. How many of you carry Narcan, or did? Paula had Narcan when her son OD'd, but it was too late.
He was gone too long to save him.
John was just 26.
You put him in the first rehab and you're thinking, oh my God, thank God we caught this, you know, and then you just don't know that that's only the beginning.
They all say Learn to Cope taught them how to stop enabling their kids with the kind of tough love that encourages recovery. Toby's son, Jacob, is now in rehab in Florida.
Our kids don't like it that we start going into the Learn to Cope meetings, because all of a sudden we're getting stronger.
I would scream and tell my mom that she was part of a cult. These people are crazy. She came home one day saying, I just can't give you any money anymore.
Katelyn's been sober 4 years, but everyone here knows addiction never really ends.
There's such a fine line from, being clean in recovery or going the other way.
Thanks to all of them for sharing their stories. You know, they tell me what's tough, especially at the beginning, is that you often have to take a step back from the person you love who's using drugs. Learn to Cope helped them do that. In addition, Paula and Kenny have started a grief group for people who have lost a loved one to addiction. And to find out how to connect with either of these groups, just go to our website, cbsboston.com.